Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're tackling something I think is a really critical tension point for every leader, every entrepreneur in the digital space.
hmm
And it's this question: how do you define lasting, meaningful success when the entire system is just, designed to reward speed and scale?
And all those volatile short-term metrics, it is the ultimate paradox, isn't it?
It really is.
We see leaders who hit these massive follower counts or, incredible revenue milestones, and then almost immediately they face burnout.
Or an existential crisis.
Right.
Or worse, an ethical collapse.
Exactly. So our mission today is to dig into sources that really challenge that obsession with accumulation, the clicks, the quick revenue, the short-term growth.
And to introduce a different paradigm, one that argues for, profound resilience.
That's it.
Yeah, because the core question we kept running into is, what if the biggest challenge isn't strategy or competition or even the algorithm?
What if it's something more fundamental?
Right. What if it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what success actually is? Our sources argue that this traditional, almost aggressive approach of accumulation without stewardship, it's just a fragile foundation.
A house built on sand. That's a good way to put it. It's ready to crumble the second the market shifts.
And what's so fascinating here, I think, is that the sources propose that the real crisis of the digital age is this shrinking vision of success.
We are absolutely surrounded by metrics.
So many metrics.
But very few leaders are surrounded by actual meaning. The central idea, the core insight we're pulling from this material, is that, true, lasting success comes not from owning resources.
But from stewarding them.
Precisely.
And what does that stewardship really entail? What are we talking about?
Well, it means nurturing people. It means cultivating your time and your talent and treating opportunities with a sense of purpose and deep accountability.
Okay.
The sources suggest that the entrepreneurs who succeed in building these resilient movements, businesses that actually last, they aren't just owners.
They're stewards.
They are stewards. They see themselves as temporary caretakers of resources that have been entrusted to them.
Okay, let's unpack that. This foundational paradigm shift from ownership to cultivation sounds a bit high level, so what's the practical impact?
Well, the impact starts with relieving the pressure of what the sources call the hidden enemy.
The hidden enemy.
Yeah, it's that gnawing exhaustion so many creators feel even when they're quote-unquote winning.
Because they're chasing the wrong scoreboard.
Exactly. Clicks can be bought, follower counts can be inflated, but trust, genuine influence, transformative impact.
Those have to be nurtured over time.
They have to be.
Yeah.
And if your numbers become the goal itself, instead of just a byproduct of the value you create, creativity shrinks. Burnout is basically inevitable.
I think the modern myth that's driving all this fatigue is so simple. Ownership equals power. I own my platform, I own my content, therefore I control my destiny. But the source material pushes back on that so powerfully, drawing from, deep historical and spiritual traditions.
We're talking about principles you see in ancient texts, like the parable of the talents.
Right, from Matthew 25.
And that biblical story is, it's a perfect frame for the modern leader. It doesn't criticize acquiring resources.
No, not at all.
It demands accountability for what you do with them. When we frame this for today, this is not just some semantic difference. It reframes your goals entirely.
So it transforms work from just a pursuit of personal gain
into a calling of impact. The principle is profound. True leadership is way less about possessing resources and far more about multiplying the value of what's been placed in your hands.
So if I, as a digital entrepreneur, stop thinking of myself as an owner and start seeing myself as a steward, what tangible shifts actually happen in my business?
It shifts your entire posture, especially when it comes to your community. You are not the owner of your platform.
Okay.
You are the steward of the people entrusted to it. Think about it this way.
Go on.
You don't own your audience.
You steward their attention.
Yes. And attention is a finite, incredibly valuable commodity, and you are accountable for how you use it. You don't own your gifts or your abilities. You steward them for the benefit of others.
So leadership gets repositioned. It's not about domination or just relentless accumulation.
It's about cultivation. It's about growing something meaningful that reflects excellence and integrity. It's recognizing that everything you have, from your email list to your specific creative skill, is entrusted to you for a purpose that's bigger than just self-aggrandizement.
That reframing is absolutely essential for resilience. So if stewardship redefines our sense of self, how does it also redefine our concept of wealth?
That's a great question.
Because financial gain matters, obviously. But money alone is clearly a very narrow very incomplete measure of success.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
The sources present this wonderful, multidimensional definition of wealth, and they argue that the failure to steward these non-financial assets often leads to the collapse of the financial one.
Interesting.
The sources outline 6 essential dimensions of stewardship, moving us way past that narrow focus on just income.
Okay, let's break these 6 pillars down. This is where the theory gets really practical. What's the first dimension?
The first one is financial stewardship.
Okay.
So, treating money as a tool, not a master. This is intensely practical. It involves honest acquisition, so integrity in how you earn wise management, like budgeting, saving, investing.
And a commitment to.
A commitment to radical giving.
I have to push back on that a bit.
Yeah.
In a high-growth environment where speed is everything, how do you reconcile radical giving with, say, the need to achieve scale and secure Series B funding?
That's a fantastic point.
Doesn't it inherently conflict with maximizing shareholder value in the short term?
It's a crucial tension point, and the sources don't ignore it. They argue that wise management, that discipline of avoiding debt and having resilient savings, is what creates the stability that allows for generosity later on.
Even during lean times.
Even during lean times. Integrity in how you get the money is non-negotiable. You build a business on ethical financial ground to make sure your growth is sustainable. When money is a tool for impact, not a master demanding to be fed.
Then your decisions are geared toward long-term stability.
Exactly, and multiplying resources for others, which, paradoxically, often makes the business itself much stronger.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Stability is the foundation for generosity later. Okay, so what's the second pillar?
This one feels especially relevant for anyone building an audience.
It is. The second is relational stewardship.
Cultivating connection over control.
Right. This means valuing the people in your sphere, your team, your audience, your vendors, as complex individuals, prioritizing trust above everything else. The sources use the term image bearers, which, if you translate it for a strategic context, just means you prioritize human dignity and respect.
So you treat the audience member as a person, not as a disposable click or a sales target.
Precisely. A stewarded platform grows because people feel seen and valued, not manipulated or targeted.
If your whole metric system is built on extracting value from your audience, you're acting like an owner. If your system tracks engagement, trust, how deeply you serve their needs,
Then you're acting like a steward.
that's the core difference between an audience that just scrolls by and a community that actually stays.
Okay, next let's talk about the output, the creative side.
That brings us right to creative stewardship. Igniting innovation with integrity. For digital creators, this means you have to consistently prioritize depth and substance over, surface-level engagement or clickbait. The steward is committed to producing content with excellence
Why?
because they recognize their creative ability as a significant asset. It's a talent to be maximized, not just exploited for quick views.
What's one tactical shift a creator could make tomorrow to prioritize that depth over clickbait?
Stop prioritizing the viral loop. A steward understands that spending an hour producing deeply researched, evergreen content that serves 100 people for 3 years. That's infinitely more valuable than content that gets 10,000 fleeting views for one afternoon. It's a real commitment to substance over trendiness.
And then we move inward. The fourth dimension, spiritual stewardship. This one sounds like the foundation holding everything else up.
It really is. This is about grounding your purpose in a profound sense of mission. For a secular leader, this means finding your fundamental why that goes beyond just financial profit.
Guarding your inner life, seeking discernment.
Exactly. It requires introspection, protecting your mental and emotional reserves. When the sources mention a divine calling, the practical business interpretation is just having a mission alignment so deep that external pressures don't make you deviate from your ethical core.
It's what keeps you resilient when the market tries to convince you to compromise.
That's it.
Okay, so moving outward again, the fifth dimension is impact stewardship.
Yes, this is about catalyzing transformation in the world. It's leveraging your resources, your platform, your profit, your influence to promote human dignity and contribute to betterment.
So this is more than just a simple CSR report.
Oh, much more. It asks, how does my business genuinely alleviate suffering or promote real improvement in the lives of my customers, my community, or my industry?
Can you give an example?
Sure. For a software company, this might mean ensuring your product is accessible to users with disabilities, or adhering to really rigorous ethical standards in data privacy.
That's moving from abstract definitions to concrete responsibility. And finally, number 6, We have legacy stewardship.
This is probably the longest view of success. It's about building enduring value that blesses future generations.
Right, the source material quotes Proverbs, which talks about a good person leaving an inheritance to his children's children.
And that's not just financial. It's the transfer of wisdom, of operational systems, ethical frameworks, and influence that continue to multiply impact long after you're gone.
It's what survives a major market crash.
Or a total platform collapse.
Yes. When you lay out those 6 dimensions, financial, relational, creative, spiritual, impact, and legacy, it becomes so clear that focusing only on income means you sacrifice the very things that build enduring influence and credibility.
And that sacrifice is exactly why we see so much burnout and so much fragility in the digital space.
These are profound concepts, but concepts require specific, disciplined habits to actually survive the volatility of the digital age.
You can't just passively adopt a stewardship mindset.
It has to be practiced.
It has to be. And the source material details some vital inner qualities, starting with the necessary antidote to entrepreneurial arrogance.
The lone genius myth.
The lone genius myth. This is humility and dependence.
The digital world really encourages that myth of the self-made, all-knowing founder. How does a steward resist that?
Well, humility is really just a realistic self-assessment.
Okay.
Recognizing your limits, your expertise gaps, your blind spots. And dependence in this context is the active, maybe even prayerful or highly structured reliance on external guidance.
Mentors, trusted advisors.
Or just deeply rooted principles. You surrender the illusion of total control and you actively seek counsel, which is a massive strategic advantage.
And crucially, for the long game, we need diligence and patience. And the clock speed of the internet fights patience every single day.
It does. Diligence isn't frantic hustle, though. It's consistent, high-quality effort, recognizing that enduring influence is built brick by brick.
It's the consistency of showing up with excellence even when no one's watching.
That's it.
But how do you sustain that diligence when the financial incentives for patience are just so low?
That's where patience becomes an internal strength. Patience is that internal resolve to resist the urge for instant gratification that the digital world demands.
Trusting the process instead.
Trusting in the process and the timing. Diligence sets the foundation, but patience sustains the effort when the results are slow. And the competitive edge is that while your rivals are chasing quick hits and burning out,
the steward is maintaining consistent, high-quality output.
And eventually the harvest arrives. Giving up too soon just means you forfeit that harvest.
Let's focus on time management as life stewardship. The digital age glorifies constant busyness, which often feels like this perverse badge of honor.
It's the tyranny of busyness. The stewardship paradigm calls for rhythms of work and essential rest. You're stewarding your life force, not just your profit margin.
Practically, what does that look like?
It means identifying your big rocks, those core priorities that truly align with your calling and your impact goals, and then diligently protecting time for them.
And perhaps most counterculturally,
it involves practicing intentional rest, a form of modern Sabbath, recognizing that productivity flows from replenishment. Burnout is fundamentally a failure of time stewardship.
And since we operate in public, this all leads right into ethical content creation.
This is absolutely non-negotiable. Stewardship demands truth and transparency. You have to be upfront about sponsored content, affiliate links, any vested interest. Your reputation, built on that ethical conduct, is an irreplaceable asset. It's a form of enduring financial wealth that's just too valuable to compromise. When you're transparent, your audience trusts that you're acting in their best interest, not just your own.
And that's the competitive advantage right there. If your brand is built on transparency and value, it creates a kind of credibility fortress that's impossible to replicate quickly.
Absolutely. Stewardship creates credibility that competitors cannot cheaply copy. It leads to businesses with real resilience, audiences who stay, not just scroll, and a reputation that strengthens over time, not one that collapses under scrutiny.
So in a marketplace this volatile, this saturated,
stewardship isn't just a moral virtue, it is the strategic survival mechanism.
So we've seen today that leading as a steward means shifting the center of gravity from speed to purpose, and from accumulation to profound responsibility.
It's a complete recalibration.
A total recalibration of priorities that demands high personal discipline.
And the path to lasting digital influence isn't about becoming louder or faster or just bigger. It's about becoming wiser, deeper, and more faithful to your defined mission.
That is the ultimate success.
It is. It's the success no competitor can steal, no trend can disrupt, and no algorithm can just erase.
That is a powerful challenge for every leader listening. So for you right now, consider this concept of the fragility test, which comes from the source material.
Mm-hmm.
What part of your leadership or your business breaks most easily under pressure? Is your consistency, your confidence in your vision, maybe just your creativity or the quality of your key relationships?
Then ask yourself, what fragile mindset, that sense of desperate ownership perhaps, what underlies that weakness?
And how could adopting a stewardship mindset, that deep sense of accountability and humble reliance on your mission, create true, unshakable resilience in that specific area instead?
It's not about owning more.
It is profoundly about stewarding better.